The national skills crisis has overtaken Australia's broken enterprise bargaining system as the most critical issue for employers fronting Prime Minister Anthony Albanese's Jobs Summit. Joining me live is Andrew McKellar, CEO of the Australian Chamber of Commerce and Industry. Andrew, thanks for your time today. What's the message you will be taking to this Jobs Summit in September?
Good afternoon, Matt. For us, the number one issue most certainly is the current crisis that business faces in terms of the availability of labour and in particular skilled labour. So we need to get a comprehensive solution, a comprehensive approach to those challenges. We'll be bringing a number of ideas, and obviously we want to sit down with the other participants and really work through to get some solutions to these fundamental challenges.
So what are some of those ideas that you have to get more skilled workers working in this country?
Well, at the moment, I think as context, I should say that we are facing probably the most pressing skills crisis in nearly 50 years. We think there are several things that need to be done. We think we have to invest more in skills and training. Things like trade apprenticeships, they have to be right up on top of the list. We think we have to encourage greater participation in the Australian labour force. If there are groups in the community who want to work but are discouraged from working at the moment, then we need to find ways to get them back into the labour force because the jobs are out there. And the third point is we do need to set up an ambitious, sustainable target in terms of skilled migration.
We heard representatives from the building industry this morning talk about the fact that at the beginning of COVID, there were a lot of skilled workers who were here on visas who left the country, and now they're facing significant delays trying to get those people back into Australia to do that skilled work. Is that an issue that you're seeing, and do we need to speed up that visa application process?
Absolutely. It's a huge issue at the moment. Employers in many sectors, and building and construction is one of those, are facing lengthy delays, significant costs. What we need to do is we need to streamline that process. We need to reduce the processing delays. Some of the testing, the labour market testing that's got to be done at a time when we have nearly full employment, to be putting all of these sorts of knots and tangles on businesses, really, it's quite unnecessary, and it's holding the economy back.
Well, what's the flow-on effect to consumers when we have this sort of skills shortage that we're seeing at the moment?
Oh, look, it's making it very difficult for many businesses in terms of delivery of services. I think anybody who's tried to travel, for example, in the past couple of weeks during school holidays would have encountered the fact that airports and airlines have been struggling to get staff. We've seen huge delays in that sort of critical transport infrastructure, in restaurants, retail, hospitality, tourism. All of these areas are really struggling to meet consumer demand. So I think it's one of the factors that is adding into cost pressures that are coming through to business and then ultimately to consumers as well. So it's having a widespread impact.
Of course, the other thing that we're seeing at the moment is another COVID wave, another wave of the Omicron variant. What impact is this having on businesses, and how much worse is it making the problem?
Well, that's right. I think on top of what was already a bad situation, we are now seeing, of course, COVID numbers, sickness numbers rising, COVID and flu together. So a seasonal factor there. At the moment, business is experiencing about double the level of sickness absenteeism to what it would normally expect to see at this time of year. But it's certainly having an impact. And, one of the things that health authorities are saying is, reminding us that apart from anything else, making sure you've got vaccinations up to date, that's going to be a factor that will help business and the community get through these next few months.
We're also seeing, we're seeing an interesting situation in Victoria today where the Chief Health Officer has actually recommended that mask mandates be brought back in. The government isn't following through on that. It's just recommending that people use masks. Do you think we've got to a point in this country where people and businesses, don't want to see some of those fairly draconian measures that we saw during the height of COVID? That they'd rather take a response that's more one of personal responsibility when it comes to how we deal with COVID?
Well, I think personal responsibility is important, and look, you're protecting yourself and protecting others. If you do wear a mask at this point of time, if you're in a space where you are closely present with others, of course, we should take heed. We should be listening to and looking at the advice that those health authorities are providing. But for sure, I think business, I think the community will be very wary of any suggestion that we go back into very severe restrictions, the likes of the lockdowns and restrictions on movement and trading hours and border closures, all those sorts of things. I don't think there's any appetite to ever go back to anything like that again.
Well, Andrew McKellar, thanks so much for joining us today on Sky News.
Good. Thank you very much.